Well, welcome in once again, everybody, to another edition of what promises to be another very good show of the 19th Hole Podcast for golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, and we've got a great show for you today. Why? Because we've got another great guest for you that we're going to be talking to in just a minute or two. It's a big week here in Las Vegas. Number one, the weather is spectacular. It's in the low 90s, a lot of sun, a few clouds, no wind. And so that is really good for guys that want to get out. But for guys that don't want to play, we've got a PGA Tour event here. It's the Shriners Hospitals for Children Open at its home course at TPC Summerlin. And hopefully we're going to get a lot of people out there. Weather's not going to be a factor by any means, so we hope that you're able to get out there for a day or two and follow some of these great players around. And speaking of great players, I've got a list of a few players that are kind of the favorites at the tournament. And let me kick it off with Patrick Cantlay, who is the tournament favorite at 650 to 1. That's 65 to 1. Soon J M, who is the defending champion, is at plus 1100. Aaron Wise, a very good player, is plus 1,800. Also a plus 1,800 is Max Homa, and I think he's got a very good chance to win this event, in my personal opinion. The darling now of the PGA Tour, Tom Kim, is plus 2,200. Taylor Montgomery, who is a local, his dad is the general manager. Monty Montgomery is the general manager over at Shadow Creek. But Taylor, who is playing very well, by the way, is plus 2,500. Maverick McNeely, who is another local, is at 5,500, plus 5,500. Ricky Fowler, probably, I think the biggest name in the field, is at plus 9,000. That's 900 to 1. Charlie Hoffman used to be a local here, but still a local favorite, as a plus 1,750 to 1. Scott Piercy, another local guy, is at 1,750 as well. And if you really want to take a long shot, somebody I'm not familiar with is Quinn Riley. He is at 2,500 to 1. So there you go. There's a real long shot. But anyway, this is a birdie fest. The weather is great. The golf course is always in great condition. TPC Summerlin was closed for about 4 or 5 months. They redid some of the bunkers. They reshaped some of the fairways. These guys haven't had a chance to look at it, so it's going to be interesting to see if it slows them up a little bit. I doubt it, once they get used to it in a couple of practice rounds. But try to get out there if you live in Las Vegas and to support a great charity, and that's the Shriners for Children charity. They do great work. Before we get going, we're being brought to you by Encore Golf and Technology, a great company. They make great golf balls. They have a thing going about joining Club Encore, and that's going to ensure you, if you do, that you're never going to pay for shipping. You get to customize your golf equipment, so it's a great deal. It's the best deal on golf balls and golf bags and more, so please give them a look at encoregolf.com. All right, let me tell you a little bit about our special guest before we bring him up. Donald Crawley is a Class A member of both the British PGA and also the United States PGA. Donald is ranked by Golf Magazine as one of the top 100 teachers in America, as well as by Golf Digest as one of the best teachers in the state of Arizona, where he teaches. He's been voted twice PGA Teacher of the Year, which is great. Donald spent 20 years as the director of instruction for all of the legendary John Jacobs golf schools. We'll talk about that a little bit. Donald is a former touring professional, having played on the South American Tour and as a tour professional across the United States. He is the innovator and owner of Golf Simplified, and currently is the director of the world-famous Boulders Golf Academy in beautiful Carefree, Arizona, just outside of Scottsdale. He is also a recipient of the Horton Smith Award for Education. So that is very, very cool. So without further ado, let's bring up our special guest, Donald Crawley. And Donald, thanks for taking time out of your schedule. I know you're busy on the lesson tee, but we appreciate you spending some time with us, my friend.
Great to be with you again, Dennis. And Las Vegas, sun shining, be a good week for the golf tournament.
It'd be a great week. They always seem to get good weather, Donald, combined with always a golf course that's in tip shape. TPC Summerlin is a great track, but again, it's a birdie fest. These guys are going to have to go low if they've got. Yeah, if they've got any chance of winning. Let me kick it off with this, Donald. It's interesting to me that some of the top instructors like yourself are so on playing lessons, where you have a strong belief in playing lessons. Why is that so?
There's so many people go and practice and hit golf balls on the driving range, and playing the game is an art, as we see with the Tiger Woods and the great players over the years. Not only do they learn to hit the golf ball and work on their swing mechanics, they can get the golf ball around the golf course in the lowest score.
Right.
Sounds simple, right?
Right.
But it isn't. And so to take, my students on the golf course, have real life golf course experience, shot situations, shot selections, course conditions, uneven lies, a lot of the things you can't do on the driving range. So I love to take students out there and help them play the game a little better.
Yeah. Do you think that puts any extra pressure on them, so to speak, Donald, because they're actually out playing in front of you and trying to perform and doing the things that you've been working on? A little extra stress for them, do you think?
If they hadn't been exposed to me as a coach, so it's better if I can work with them a little bit on the driving range first, so that they know this isn't a judgment call. Try not to put pressure on them. You try and put them in a relaxed manner. Then when we get on the golf course, then they won't feel any different.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes perfect sense. And I am a believer in playing lessons. Like I say, take advantage of what you're trying to be taught by your coach, and I just think it's great. John Jacobs, Donald, I feel is really an icon in the world of golf. What's the best advice that John ever gave you as an instructor? And for those people that might not know who exactly John Jacobs was, he was a former tour player. He's British, if I'm not mistaken, Donald. I think he was a two-time Ryder Cup captain. Give us a little background on John, how you guys met, and again, what's the best advice he ever gave you as an instructor?
Oh, it's terrific. I miss John Jacobs. A lot of people in the United States know John Jacobs, a senior tour player who's a very, very good player.
Right.
But the John Jacobs Golf Schools, the name comes from John Jacobs, who is a Britishman, and he played in the Ryder Cup, which is now known as the European Ryder Cup, in 1955. So he was an old guy. Right? But then he went on as a great coach and coached all the international teams in Europe, and then was Ryder Cup captain, European Ryder Cup captain, 1979, 1981. I was a very lucky young guy. I met him when I was 17 years old. I was an assistant golf professional at the time, and John took me under his wing and taught me how to teach golf. And he really is a legend in golf teaching.
Yep.
And the people in the world, the Butch Harmons and David Ledbetters and Hank Haney's and names that are known, they've all give credit to John Jacobs for laying the groundwork on what we now call modern teaching. So I was lucky. I got to spend personal time with him. Then I came to the States, and for 20 years, run his golf schools.
Yeah,
so
You must have gotten a lot of mileage with all the airplanes that you were probably taking to go to all the schools, right?
Yeah. Well, exactly, the golf schools and people, because the John Jacobs Golf Schools is still in existence.
Yeah.
But it's a very, very small operation now. And for the listeners and the viewers here, in the 1980s and 90s, the John Jacobs Golf Schools was the largest golf school or largest golf instruction program in the United States,
Right.
North America, probably the world. So I operated 42 golf locations,
Wow.
golf school
Wow.
locations. And to put it in perspective, in the height of the career of the golf schools was actually 1990, let me get this right, 1999, when we saw 20,000 golf students who came for 3 days. So we used to measure the business in student days, one student for 1 day.
Right.
60,000 in the year of 1999. So, I mean, it was busy all over, and it was terrific.
Wow.
Golf was booming. It was terrific. And then it hit the wall. The golf school business hit the wall. 2001, what a tragedy. 9/11 came along.
Yeah.
And that pretty much nixed that whole travel for golf school vacation. But I was lucky. I was involved in it all those years. And after that, I jumped ship and I left the John Jacobs organization. And I came up to the Boulders to teach the John Jacobs philosophy under my name, which is company's Golf Simplified.
Right.
So if anyone who knows who John Jacobs was and thought it was lovely, well, you're going to get a John Jacobs lesson from me, because he was terrific. Icon, what was the best advice he gave me?
Yeah.
Is to work backwards. So now young instructors work forwards, meaning they look at your swing, they look at your movements and the body mechanics, but you need to work on the impact backwards. So we watch what the ball does. I watch what the ball does. I figure out the impact, how the club's hitting the ball, and then what is the body doing to the club, in that order. And, you know, I'm like an old dinosaur teacher now, because I've been a golf pro for 48 years, and people think, well, it's just old school. No, Scotty Scheffler and everyone these days, and Max Homer, if you look at their golf swings, they're just doing it right. They've just got sort of better in the biomechanics of how the body moves, but they're still trying to control their golf ball.
Yeah.
So golfers out there, if we can help you control your golf ball, you're going to be a better golfer, right?
No doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. That's very well said. Very well said. Speaking of that, though, Donald, other than perhaps, I know people are busy today, but whatever, families, this and that and the other, they don't play as much as they would really like to. But other than maybe a lack of practice, Donald, what do you think is the biggest problem with the weekend amateur not seem to be getting much better these days?
Great question. There's no doubt the correlation between practice and play has such a huge influence on whether you can get better. But the biggest problem, I would say, is people are working on the wrong thing.
Okay.
And how do I say this politically correct? There's so many misdiagnoses of golf students who come to me, and they've been told they're coming over the top, they're out to win, I'm over the top.
Right.
And I have to put them on video and say, no, you're not. You've been misdiagnosed. Well, so-and-so told me. I said, who told you? Well, you know, Dennis, that guy in Vegas I play with, and he told me I'm doing it wrong. I'm sorry, you know, Dennis, he knows my sense of humor. I get it. But the point is, my buddy told me this, or my neighbor told me this, or I got it off the Instagram. There's a lot of great information on YouTube and Instagram, but if you apply the wrong medicine to a certain ailment, like I'm over the top and I'm trying not to do this, and people work on the wrong things. So I stand out here at the Boulders where I teach. It's a semi-private, so there's a lot of weekend warriors coming out here, and they're working on the wrong thing. It absolutely makes me cry. I walk down the range and they're working on the wrong thing half the time. And it's a difficult game.
Yeah.
So my advice to every golfer, go to a good golf instructor. Who's a good golf instructor? Someone who's busy, who gets results.
Right.
And find out what you're doing wrong and work on the right thing. And then you won't need to practice as much, and you're going to spare yourself a lot of frustration.
Yeah. How surprised are they, Donald, when you tell a student that you have that comes to you for a couple of lessons, when you tell them, no, you're not coming over the top, pal. That's
Right.
not really your problem. That's not why you're slicing the ball. How shocked
Right.
are they?
Yeah, very, very shocked, because he says, well, that's what I heard. And I says, well, I'm sorry to inform you, you're wrong. And whoever told you is wrong. And so here's why. Now, how do you prove that? That's based on understanding impact. And it's great now that people who can afford a TrackMan or a flight scope, and then they can prove what the impact is.
Right.
That's helpful. But you don't need to go out and buy a $25,000 software piece in order to tell you what you're doing. So you get the diagnosis correct. So that's the first thing. And I'm sort of backing up to answer the question, what John Jacobs taught me. You have to diagnose the impact. Then you have to explain what that is and what that means. That's the explanation. And then the correction is where the skill comes in. So good golf instructors have skills, a lot of skills, to help people improve.
Correct.
And I pride myself at being able to get results and help people get better. And I'm not a rocket scientist. There's a lot of people out there who can do this. But I would say one of the comments is not only being misdiagnosed, is making too complicated.
Yeah.
I just had a gentleman who came in, and he spent a lot of money working on a particular method, who will go unnamed, and in all good faith, good intentions, said his instructor was terrific and nice guy. He says, I got worse. So I looked at him and I says, yeah, you were working on the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I'm hopeful for this guy. I just came in from doing that lesson while it's fresh on my mind, and the guy's going to get better. Yeah. He's going to hit it further. He's going to play better. He's going to enjoy his game.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. That's absolutely what it's all about. All right, Donald, stay with us. We're going to step away. We're going to take a short break and come back, have a lot more with a great, great instructor and a great guy, Donald Crawley, from the world-famous Boulders in Carefree, Arizona. We're going to kick it off with Janice Thornton from Fitness and Golf. Be right back.
Welcome to Tea Time Fitness with Janice. Hi, I'm Janice Thornton, and today let's get an exercise for your shoulders. Grab your driver, go up overhead. You're gonna go with your arms behind your head, bending one of your elbows. Now I want you to squeeze your shoulder blades together and really stretch out that chest and shoulder area. Make sure you do both sides. Now you're gonna want to repeat this about 3 to 5 times on each side. To add into that same exercise, you can put your arms up overhead, go behind. If you have to bend your elbows, that's fine. You're gonna take a wider stance, bend over, and then just gently go side to side with your arms. And do what feels comfortable. You do not want to be in any kind of pain when you do that, but that will help with shoulder mobility and stability as well. So check out jtfitnessandgolf.com for more ideas like this.
Are you an E or a C?
Both have Ridgeback.
These are loaded with tech.
Which one are you gaming? Definitely E for me.
It's just so forgiving.
I'm definitely an E. C is for Cheka. What else?
C is for kill it.
C is me. Low spinning bombs.
So, are you an E or a C?
I don't know. Hey, wait a minute.
Pound for pound, nothing comes close.
Innovation begins at a single point. Elements, each with their unique character. Fire-forged steel creates unprecedented control. Chemistry delivers a touch so soft, combined to create a level of performance previously unimagined. Like magic, the Elixir, the new Tour Ball from Encore.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to more of the 19th Hole podcast for golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, having a great conversation with the president and CEO of Golf Simplified, which he uses at the Boulders Golf Academy, which is phenomenal in Carefree, Arizona. We're talking to my friend Donald Crawley. And Donald, I want to ask you this. When you were running and developing all of these John Jacobs schools, what were the one or two things you were looking for in an instructor if you had to hire somebody?
So that's a great question. That I spent a lot of time interviewing and hiring instructors. It became a big thing as we grew as a popular golf instruction school. The quality we were looking for were, one, preferably PGA member.
Right.
Show that you've gone through the program and you've got some experience. And two, people skills. Mm-hmm. Because when we're teaching golf, you're teaching a subject,
right?
But it's appealing to the people. And this is a quote that I didn't invent. I wish I did, but we used to say as a marketing tag, we're teaching people to play golf rather than just teaching golf to people. Teaching people to play golf. So one of the things I used to look for, and I try my best to keep improving in this area, is to appeal and relate and communicate with the individual student. So if I start rambling on about a certain thing about Golf Simplified or a particular thing, and I can't relate to the person, then I've missed the point.
Right, exactly.
So the answer to your question was you're going to look for the people skills, communication skills, but also an understanding of the golf swing and impact and how you can help improve the golfer.
Do you find that most of your students that come to you at the Boulders or other places that you teach throughout the summertime, which are great facilities, maybe have a little bit of an overestimation of their ability, and that you kind of have to let them down gently and say, no, you're not hitting the 7-iron 160 yards. I'm sorry. Do you find that, though?
Yes. Yeah, you're exactly right. And I think what a great thing on watching PGA Tour players, the distances they hit it is just crazy.
Oh, it's nuts.
Crazy good.
Nuts.
But the average golfer are not going to be able to relate to that. The 190 yards, 7-irons. Right. You're right. So that's why it's important on the communication straight away is, look, let's be honest. I have a monitor now, and we say, let's just monitor what is your club head speed and how far can you hit it. And let's be realistic, because you can't be trying to hit high towering 4-irons like Rory, who I'm a big Rory fan. Just, I don't know if you know this, Rory hits his 4-iron 252 yards when they were measuring it at Augusta. That's ridiculous, right?
That is ridiculous.
So you can't relate to what he's doing, but you can glean some information from why he hits it so far, and we can apply it based on the body you have, the skill you have, and the time and dedication you have to get that.
Right.
To try and improve anyway.
Yeah. No, he just phenomenal ball striker. As an instructor, Donald, being at the Boulders, which is a great resort, and that's a key word to this question. People come there, they're on vacation for 2 or 3 or 4 days. They want to play golf. They want some help with their golf game. They come to see you. What's the biggest challenge you have in helping them, as opposed to working with a member of a club that you would see fairly frequently?
Mm-hmm. It's not much different, but I try and keep things in perspective. So when someone comes to me, and I, be honest, I do a majority of people who come for me for 2 days or 3 days.
Right.
So I have to be realistic, and I try and help the student be realistic. What can we do in 2 or 3 days? And I say, I'm going to set you on the right path. Here's what we're going to work on. And I'm going to give them things you can work and improve straight away. There's a myth about I'm going to get worse before I get better, which is why a lot of people don't take instruction.
Correct.
That's wrong.
That's
if
wrong.
you don't
You're right.
improve, you're not working on the right thing.
Right.
Change your instructor. So
Right.
you've got to keep the expectations in line. So if you come to me shooting 110, I can get you down shooting 100 straight away.
Okay.
I mean, absolutely, and get you to hit the ball better and further. But you've
Yeah.
got to keep it, in the right expectations. But I'm not working any different. It's golf is golf. You come to me and we know each other, and I take a look at your golf swing. Okay, Dennis, your golf ball's pulling left because of this. You need to work on that, and you'll hit it straighter. And whether I see you for 2 minutes or I see you for 2 days, we're going to get down to the nitty gritty of it as
Yeah.
to what the club is doing to the ball and getting you
Right.
to play better.
That's exactly right. What the hell would you charge me if you worked with me for 2 days, Donald? I'm
A
almost
lot of
afraid to
money.
ask.
A lot.
That's what I thought. Golf Simplified sounds pretty self-explanatory, but for our viewers that aren't familiar with it, why don't you explain Golf Simplified, how you came up with it, and what it is basically?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. So Golf Simplified came up. I started Golf Simplified in 2004 because I'd left John Jacobs Golf School in 2003. So I'm going through, I need a brand name. I'm not going to be a John Jacobs assistant anymore. I'm not going to be a John Jacobs disciple, even though I am. I'm going to be Donald Crawley. So Golf Simplified. John wrote a great book called Simplified Golf. And so being a bit dyslexic, I just says, well, instead of being Simplified Golf, I'm going to call it Golf Simplified. And I made one mistake that I didn't get a patent on it, because if you look now, everyone's simple.
Yeah.
Golf simple.
Yeah.
Simple golf.
Yeah.
I started that, Golf Simplified, but John started it when he wrote the book back in the 70s that said Simplified Golf. So that's how it came up. But there's a message there. I do try and keep it as simple as possible. So a lot of people like my instruction because it's not making it too complicated.
Yeah.
And because you go there and I give you 10 things to do, Dennis, and it's not going to help. You're going to remember one or two. So I'm going to give you one or two things to work on. I'm going to give you a drill to work on.
Right.
I'm going to give you a method to the madness to work on, and keep it simple.
Right. Keep
And
it
it's Golf
simple.
Simplified.
That's what I like. They go by the KISS rule. Keep it simple, stupid.
Simple,
And
stupid,
I
that's right.
totally agree with you, Donald, that 99% of the players that I see, and I'm probably guilty of it myself to some extent, make the golf swing much more complicated than it needs to be. And I'll give you a good example. Years ago, Annika and Kari Webb came out to the Paiute to play a match. And these two women probably have the most simple golf swings in the world. Take it back, hit it through, and everybody else is fooling around with this and that and the other. Why do people do that? Why do they unnecessarily have to complicate their golf swing?
I think it's just nature of technology now, because Annika, I still quote Annika, I've still got a book of a swing sequence of her golf swing, Annika, and I show man, woman, junior, senior.
Yep.
This is maybe the best golf swing in the last 50 years, in my opinion. She's terrific.
Yeah.
And, kept it simple, had a good coach you worked with, and, of course, great athlete. But people make it complicated with technology. People come to me with applications attached to the phone, attached to something on the golf club. They're keeping the stats. Yeah, I mean, they get just the paralysis of the analysis. But, it's technology now. People like data.
Right.
So I have to have a monitor and video. And video now there's a new video, which I won't give it a plug, that puts it into 3D. And you've got to have that stuff now because people like it.
Yeah.
It's kind of the market and technology and data and stuff, but it's making it more complicated than it needs to be. There's a ball, there's a golf club, and there's a person on the end of it.
Right. Correct.
So got to keep it as simple as possible, because once you get up there, Dennis, you love to play golf. How many things can you think about when you stand over the ball?
I could think about a lot, but I don't let myself do that, Donald, because I know you're dead from the beginning.
Trained man. we can think of like all these things, but in reality, you can think of one, possibly two things.
Correct.
So one of the philosophies I have is you could have one thought going backwards and one thought going forward.
Correct.
And I'd like to get those two thoughts to one thought when we get on the golf course, which I love that analogy uses, Annika, you know, and anyone, just aim it, get in position, fire it.
And let it go.
But all the work goes behind that for her or Tiger or Hogan to make it look simple, but there's some work behind that. But you've got to keep the thought process simple. I mean, I like these, you talked about it, the Shriners Hospital Open up there in Vegas, and some simple golf swings out there. Patrick Cantlay, I mean, I don't know him. I wish I did, because he's a terrific player. Max Homer. Their methods are simple. If they don't get injured, those guys will be around for a long time.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
It's a simple movement, and I don't think they get too far ahead of themselves, and they can just keep advancing that ball down the fairway. And they're terrific talent too. That's
exactly right. They've all got talent. If they're on the PGA Tour out there playing in the Savannah, even though you might not have heard of them, they all have talent. Last question before we take our second break. Donald, would you agree with me that video is probably the greatest invention when it comes to golf instruction?
I don't know about the greatest, but certainly a necessity. You know, I went through all with the video came out really in the late 80s, and we were one of the first as an instruction outfit using it. And it is terrific, and it's got more sophisticated, it's more convenient. And it's a great tool. I don't know about being the greatest, but it's a great tool that, and if you're a visual learner, then it's essential.
Right.
So as a golfer listening here, figure out what kind is your learning style. And if you're a visual learner, you learn from watching.
Correct.
And mimicking. Get a video, get someone to video, but for goodness sakes, get it diagnosed correctly.
Do you get the same reaction, Donald, from people when you show their swing on video and they've never been on video before, and they go, "That's me? That's what I look like when I swing"? You get that a lot, right?
Oh, yeah, we have a standing joke that it was actually a true story. When we could put out the video, and we actually used to do it as a group, we thought it would be a good social outing, and we'd film everyone, 20 people, come in at night, and said we start to show people, you know, and over a cocktail and relax people and show them the golf swings. And when people saw them, they were shocked. And there was two very important and most common questions. The ladies all said, "Oh my goodness, I've got to lose weight." And men said, every man said, "I didn't realize I'm going that bald, or in my case, I'm going that white."
Oh,
and once they saw themselves, they couldn't be objective and look at their golf swing. And everyone has to get over that shock. True story.
Oh, I love that. I love that. All right, Donald, stay with us. We're going to step away. We're going to take another short break. We come back. We're going to have more with our special guest from the Boulders, Mr. Donald Crawley. Back with you right after this.
As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence, AI, has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
All right, we are back with more with twice PGA Teacher of the Year, Donald Crawley. And all right, let's get to it. I've been kind of holding off, but your impression of what's going on between the PGA Tour, the LIV Tour, where it's going with the players leaving, that type of thing. What's your initial impressions?
It's interesting. It's, Greg Norman, who, tremendous player, had always wanted to have a world tour, always.
Right.
And then he has an opportunity, and he's doing it now, through the funding from the Saudi investment company. So LIV is a breakaway tour, and they've got some good players have gone over there. I can certainly see why, particularly if they're towards not all of them, but towards the latter part of their career, and they get a big paycheck. So they go in, where the money is, which makes sense. However, when you've got 48 players and 17 out of the top 18 players in the world are on the PGA Tour, you have got a special group, 48 great players, playing golf, but they're not playing against the competition that they would get if they were playing elsewhere.
Yeah.
So it comes up, for me, I think those great players, Dustin Johnson and Bryson, Young, and they're just right in the middle of their career.
Right.
I'm not sure they're so competitive they'd get bored after a while of playing the same 48 guys, 54 holes.
Yeah.
To me, I think they're going to go stir crazy after a while. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But they're so competitive. I mean, they can't play against all those people they want to beat. They've already got money, and they're going to get more money.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to miss out, and it's not for me to say, but not being able to play in the majors and the major tours, the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour.
Yep.
Where are they going to play? LIV Tour, eight events, and then they can play in Asia.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then I think they're going to go nuts after a while.
Yeah, I think you make some very good points, and they've got a team event coming up pretty soon. But I agree with a lot of what you said. I think they need some more competition, and it might get a little old after a while, and they need to do some tweaking, especially with the shotgun start. I know they're going to get a television contract pretty soon. They've got an endless amount of money, for crying out loud. But I think there does need to be some tweaking, and it's going to be interesting to see where the lawsuits are going with it. I think they're going to eventually end up with some compromise, hopefully, and put all of this. This other
hopefully
stuff.
you can. And the world rankings is a big thing, to get the world rankings.
Well,
that's what
it
they're
is.
pushing for, which is understandable. But how could you get world rankings when you're playing with the 48 guys?
Yeah,
and you're not playing against the best in the world. So of course you win an LIV, well, it's LIV tournament.
Yeah.
It's the competition isn't there.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they're going to mesh the competition of the LIV Tour against the PGA Tour players, against the European best in Europe. and the best in Asia to figure out the world rankings. I don't know how they're going to do that.
No, you make a very good point, and I don't know how they're going to do it either. But something's going to have to give, as they say. Donald, what do you say to your students to kind of explain or sell them on the fact that the short game in golf is really almost the be-all, end-all? To be a good player, to score, there's no doubt about it, you've got to have a good short game. How do you make that sexy for your students so they'll want to practice it?
Right. No doubt. If people come to me, and I always ask when I meet someone, and typically a resort guest or someone who's come to see me out of state, which is a lot of people come to me, says, what do you want to do? What is your goal? And typically it's, I want to be more consistent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
But I said, okay, but if a bottom line person who says, I just want to score lower, I walk them right over to the short game and says, okay, we're going to improve your short game from 50 yards and in. Because if you improve the short game, the scores will come down if I don't touch golf swing. However, the golfer says, okay, and then after an hour of that, they said, yeah, but come and look at my driver. And so we end up going back to the swing anyway. So how can I make it sexy? I can't, other than if you want to shoot a lower number, you have to improve your technique in the short game, and you have to practice to get better. No doubt.
Right. There's no doubt about it. I totally agree, but it's hard for people to do that today and make them realize that's where it's at. All right, so what's the schedule for Donald Crawley through the rest of the year into 2023? You know, you're going to be at the Boulders, and if you're going to the Boulders anyway, which is fantastic, you want to get better, you want to book a couple of lessons with Donald, but what's your plans, Donald, for the rest of the year and stuff?
Yeah, the rest of my plans are, it's such a seasonal business. I'm excited at the Boulders. This is my 19th year.
Wow.
And the reason I like it here is we've made some improvements on the golf course, so it's more exciting and fun. The South course has got new Tiff Eagle greens, and both courses, the North and the South, have renovated bunkers and new sand, so it'll be fun from that point of view. I'm going to do what I like to do and where I've had success from is teaching golf simple and helping people get better. Okay. I'm not trying to go on tour with a tour player. That's not my cup of tea. If you want to send your child to me to come and get them ready to go through college, I've got some great colleagues who can do that. That's not my cup of tea either. I'm going to take the weekend warriors and help them play better. I'm going to do that on a 2-day school, a 3-day school, individual lessons, a series of lessons, and on the golf course playing lessons. So I'm going to continue to do it as the good Lord allows me to be healthy enough to do it. I'm going to keep doing it.
You're going to keep doing it. How do people get a hold of you if they're coming out to Carefree and they want to get some help from you? How do they get a hold of you?
Probably the easiest way is I've got to remember 2 websites, golfsimplified.com. Golf Simplified gets directly to me. Or just remember the Boulders, theboulders.com. All my information is there for the instructions and the options and the prices, and then they'll have my direct line. Email is still the best way to reach me. You can reach me, donald.crawley@hilton.com. And then we can go from there. I'm excited. The weather's cooling down here in Arizona. It's a beautiful place to be. If you want a winter vacation, come on out. If you live locally, drive in. Dennis only lives 4 hours away. You can drive down once a week. Take that lesson. He gets a special rate for being such a good guy and a good podcast host.
I love it. I appreciate it. We're going to see you sooner than later, Donald. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Always great to see you. Always great information. And we'll have you back sooner than later, my friend.
Thanks very much for having me, Dennis.
My pleasure.
It's my pleasure.
Donald Crawley, everybody, great guy, like I said, and a really, really good instructor. All right, we'll step away for our last break. We're going to kick it off with Crunch Time with Carrie.
This This is Core Time with Carrie. I am Carrie O'Rourke from Core Golf Fitness in partnership with Dennis Silvers of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers, where we show you how to improve your golf game by improving your body. Today we're talking about shoulders. Do you think a baseball pitcher walks up to the mound without any warm-up, where he winds up and goes from 0 to 100 miles per hour in 2 seconds time? Of course not. So why do you think that's okay for you to walk up to the first tee box without warming up your shoulders? Try this mobility exercise before a round of golf. I want you to interlace your fingers and pull them apart so there is tension coming through your muscles. Start by circling forward for about 15 and reverse for about 15. And then we're going to change that grip. Flat hands, pressing difficultly against each other, and wind it up forward and wind it up backwards. This is going to increase the blood flow and start those shoulders moving before you play a round of golf. Want to know more about improving your body specifically for golf? I would love to see you inside one of my online programs. You can find me at coregolffitness.com or Carrie O'Rourke on Instagram and Facebook at Core, C-O-R, Golf Fitness. Give that a try and let me know how it goes.
Hey golfers, I've been a golf talk show host for a long time and I've been playing golf even longer. Being in golf media, I've had the chance to play every ball ever made. I've tried them all. Well, my search is finally over because I found the best ball I have ever played with, and more golfers are finding the same thing. I started playing with the Elixir golf ball made by Encore Golf. Encore Golf has revolutionized both their golf balls, the Elixir or the Avant 55, or the brand new Vero X1, to where the performance of either will simply blow you away. It did me. If you're looking for better performance and durability with your ball, Encore Golf has it. Don't just take my word for it. Check them out at encoregolf.com and you'll become convinced, as I am, the first time you tee it up with Encore. It's the best performing ball for the price. Go to encoregolf.com and see for yourself. Your scorers will love you for it. That's ONCORE golf.com. That Vero X1 is a great golf ball from Encore, but get your hands on the new Vero X2 ball. I just started playing with it, and I'm telling you, it will blow you away. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers. So, on behalf of everybody, I'm hoping to see everybody out there at TPC Summerlin for the Shriners event. No excuses. Great weather, great golf course, so I'm hoping to see you out there. Until then, keep it in the short stuff. See you same time, same place next week. So long, everybody.